It's a beautiful day for baseball. And live from Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona, Sportsnet LA presents the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. Dodgers getting ready to play their 24th game of the spring. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner and Oral Hershiser. The Dodgers coming off their only off day of the spring. A week from this coming Monday, they open against the Padres at Dodger Stadium. The Dodger bullpen remains somewhat in flux. Brandon League having an MRI on his right shoulder. Juan Nicasio starts today, and 6 others out of the bullpen basically singing for their supper.
They really are a parade of relievers, and if you watch this parade, last year you went with guys like Chris Perez, was it Brandon League, Kenley Jansen, Brian Wilson, all with big-time resumes. But this year, going with a theory of a little more depth. The resumes aren't as glamorous, but the depth is there. Could it be a Santos, a young guy like Garcia that makes the bullpen, David Ardsma trying to rejuvenate his career, even a McGowan. We're going to see all of them today, and there's some others we're not going to see that could make that opening day roster and be a significant part, but all are part of the plan.
As of today, J.P. Howell, Joel Peralta assured of roles in the Dodger bullpen. After that, a lot of these fellas auditioning today and for the next 10 days. We're going to take a break, come back. It's the Dodgers and Padres. Lineups are coming up next. A picture-perfect 84 degrees on this Wednesday afternoon. Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona. As the Dodgers and Padres get ready to play. About a week from this Monday, it'll count when the Dodgers host San Diego in the first 3-game series of the season at Dodger Stadium Monday afternoon. 1:10. Clayton Kershaw to start for the Dodgers. In all likelihood, James Shields for the Padres, although the Padres have not yet made it official. Of course, San Diego, a major renovation in the offseason, and they will become a very interesting team. What with the acquisition of Matt Kemp and Will Myers and Justin Upton, Will Middlebrooks. Pitching is solid. Bullpen is good. And so Bud Black, beginning his 9th year as the manager of the Padres, has put this lineup together. Notable by the absence of Matt Kemp. Did not make the 10-minute trip over from Peoria, but Will Myers did. He'll be leading off in right field, and Cameron Maben having a solid spring in center field, hitting second. Will Venable in right field is batting third. Carlos Quentin at first base, although Alonso will likely be the opening day starter at first base. Gunhervis Solarte at third base hits fifth. Derek Norris from the A's, the catcher, hitting sixth. Alexi Amarista bats seventh. Ramiro Pena at second base hitting eighth. Jed Jerko will be the starting second baseman. Jason Lane starting for the Padres this afternoon as the Dodgers take the field. And as we mentioned in the opener, Juan Nicasio likely to work out of the bullpen. Could be that long starter, could be the fifth man come the 14th of April, perhaps the 23rd, getting the start today.
Juan was exclusively a starter prior to last year, but got 19 relief appearances last year and pitched very well out of the bullpen. But this is a guy I think the Dodgers are looking at possibly spot starting, length out of the bullpen, but somebody that they really think could blossom coming out of the bullpen and give them some depth. And we're going to see a lot of relievers on the mound today. This is going to be a bullpen day.
Nicasio, 5 appearances this spring. 4 earned runs and 9 hits in 7 innings. That's a 5.14 ERA. Above and beyond Nicasio, we will see Dustin McGowan, Sergio Santos, Southern California product. J.P. Howell, outside of one outing, has been solid. Paco Rodriguez has been great. David Ardsville looking to hang on, and Yimi Garcia has 9 strikeouts in 7 1/3 scoreless innings this spring. So the Dodger bullpen has pitched very well this spring.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys, as you said, singing for their supper, and it's a different theory this year with the Dodger bullpen, where last year you had the Chris Perez's and the Brian Wilsons and a lot of guys with resumes with over 30 saves at the big league level, bona fide closers, and it just didn't work out. This year it's a lot more depth, a lot more numbers, and then there'll be a lot of mixing and matching. And even if you make the opening day roster, it doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden have the job for sure. There's going to be a lot of guys in AA and AAA that are going to be part of the depth plan.
Of course, Brandon League had an MRI on his shoulder today, results of which we have not yet received. Kenley Jansen is out until the middle of May, we think. And the Dodger defense behind Nicasio the early part of the game. Ethier, Peterson, and Puig in the outfield. Uribe, Rollins, Kendrick, and Gonzalez. That'll be the opening day infield. Yasmani Grandal, the former Padre, behind the plate as Will Myers steps into the batter's box. Myers this spring is 11 for 40. And here's the first pitch of the game. Under the knees, 1 ball and no strikes. So some major changes, of course, in San Diego. Myers, 222 last year for Joe Madden in Tampa. Takes a strike from Nicasio, 1 ball and 1 strike.
It's a little different to see a right-handed leadoff hitter in a spring training game and also see a shift by the Dodgers.
Kendrick on the third base side of second base. Low and outside, 2 balls and a strike.
And even Adrian Gonzalez is testing his range over at first as far as he is away from the first base bag. And that tells you what kind of hitter Will Myers is as far as rolling over in the infield.
And naturally, he hits it toward right. Puig sprinting over, and it drops in for a base hit. Big turn for Myers, and he is caught napping by Nicasio. Boy, that was a base-running blunder.
Well, pull on the ground, but opposite to straightaway in the air, and that's what this ends up happening right down the line. Yasiel Puig stays in the game, doesn't just give up on the play. All of a sudden sees Nicasio sneaking in behind him, and with Yasiel's arm, accurate and powerful, right there on the bag. Juan coming over, not taking anything for granted. Keep playing the game, getting out.
Puig was surprised. So Puig, who led the league in outfield assists last year, picking up where he left off. 1 out, nobody on. Cameron Maben is the batter, and a heads-up play by Nicasio. Here's the 0-1 to Maben.
Not a lot of times you write in your scorebook 9-1
after a hit. Maben is 11 for 34 this spring. And they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for Cameron Maben to become the star they thought he might be when he first broke in.
A starter last year, looked like he was starting to come around, and had a devastating injury out there. I think it was in a Dodger game with us.
Out here.
Yeah.
He separated his shoulder. And so he played but 95 games last year. When he came up with the Tigers in 2007, they thought he was going to be a major star. First round pick in 2005. But just a .246 career hitter. Here's a 2-2. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Those first round picks, one of the things about being a first round pick, of course, you can be a 20th round pick and make to the big leagues. You can be a first round pick and make to the big leagues. But being a first rounder gets you 9 lives. It gets you a lot of looks. Where if you're the 20th rounder and you get to the point where you can get to the big leagues, you better stay there because you're not going to get the lives.
Off to the right and out of play.
Once a scout and the organization puts the money and their reputations behind you, they're going to get in those meetings and they're going to make sure that you continue to get a chance.
So Maben went from the Tigers to the Marlins in 2007. And a fly ball to center field. Relaxed out there is Jock Peterson, who is such a fluid presence in center field.
Yeah, we really, over the last few years, have had people that can play center field, but not really center fielders. And Jock is a center fielder.
And he has had an outstanding offensive spring. Don Mattingly now in his 5th year as the Dodger manager, and his teams have improved in each of his first 4 years. And a fly ball to left field. That's Ethier back at the wall, and he'll make the catch, and that'll end the inning. So Venable gives it a pretty good poke. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left after the first half of the first. Padres nothing. The Dodgers are coming up. A fascinating story on the Hill this afternoon for Jason Lane. We'll tell you his story, but first we'll present the Dodgers starting lineup with Jimmy Rollins leading off at short. Don Mattingly has put the group together with Justin Turner, the DH, hitting .469 this spring. Dodgers, in fact, have 3 400 hitters this spring. Turner, Kendrick, who is hitting 5th, and Peterson batting 9th in between Puig, Gonzalez, Kendrick, Grandal, Ethier, Uribe, and Peterson. Now to Jason Lane's story. He's 38 years of age, and he is new to this pitching thing.
Well, he sure is. A position conversion back in 2011. You remember him mostly maybe as a former outfielder with the Astros, but he loves baseball so much. And the first change was, well, I can be a pitcher because I'm left-handed. And then he's done a pretty decent job at it. And at 38, it'll probably be his decision if he wants to be an insurance policy.
Jimmy Rollins with a beautiful bunt up the first base line, and the 36-year-old veteran is heady a player as there is in the game.
Jason Lane being left-handed, falling off to the third base side, and Jimmy taking advantage of the lefty on the mound that falls the opposite way. Just that little bit of momentum. Jason does a nice plant, but the perfect position of that bunt gives Jimmy Rollins an easy base hit.
Rollins is having just a fun time this spring. He said, look, Philadelphia, time had run out on him there and on the Philly franchise in the city. They're certainly on the downside. And so for him to come to Los Angeles, he's absolutely thrilled with where he is and how he's gotten here.
Yeah, the timing of the Philadelphia franchise, where they are in looking for a championship, and the timing of the end of Jimmy's career did not match up. And this is perfect for the Dodgers and for Jimmy.
And Justin Turner, coming off a career year last year when he hit .340, fouls it off to the right, is having a sensational spring. 15 out of 32 with a couple of home runs and 7 runs batted in. And .469. Turner not happy enough with a career year last year. Spent almost every day of the offseason at Dodger Stadium working out. It has paid off. The designated hitter today. And he pops it up into short right. That's Ramiro Pena.
You know, at spring training, our offices there kind of overlook Maury Will's bunting area a lot of times from the lunchroom and where we are. And Jimmy Rollins has been over there the last few days when I've been in camp working with Maury on his bunting. It's been amazing to see it come into the game.
1 out, 1 on, and Yasiel Puig is coming up. Puig's bat has slowly begun to awaken as we get closer to opening day. He's 7 for 31. 3 of his 7 hits home runs this spring. He's knocked in 8. Lane deals, and that one is rocked to left. Oh, doctor. What a shot. Yasiel Puig. 8 hits, 4 home runs. Now 10 runs batted in, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead. Oh.
It's hard to say that a batter has a plan when he jumps on a first pitch to a guy he's never seen. A little off-speed breaking ball that comes in towards his swing. But Yasiel looked like that was planned. I'm going to look for something in the middle of the plate. I don't care if it's hard and straight or bending and soft. And I'm going to plant it over the left field wall.
The bat flip in midseason form. Dodgers 2-zip. Adrian Gonzalez coming up. And Gonzalez takes a strike. It's 0-1.
Compact, get the front foot down, and then those fast, strong hands launch that ball.
And Gonzalez with a bleeder up the middle and into center field for a base hit. For Gonzalez, his 8th hit of the spring.
One ball hit as hard as a ball can be hit, and another one hit as soft as it can be hit, and find a hole and get a hit.
Now Howie Kendrick coming up. Kendrick 14 for 34. Grandal, the former Padre, on deck. Lane misses inside. 1 ball and no strikes. So the Dodgers this spring 11-6-6. The Padres are 11-10, and both teams with new looks. To third, Solarte, to Pena, and Quentin can't hang on.
Yeah, really, the Dodgers and the Padres, two of the largest makeovers in all of baseball. With all the changes and the Padres outfield. And then with the Dodgers, kind of jettisoning Hanley Ramirez and Matt Kemp and Dee Gordon.
Dan Herron, Brian Wilson. Now Yasmani Grandal, the other half of the deal that sent Matt Kemp south. And Grandal, 8 for 38, a home run and 4 runs batted in. Switch hitter, batting for the right side against Lane.
In my generation, Charlie, and you've known from over the years of your experience that rarely do you see a star like a Matt Kemp traded within your division. And sometimes not even within your league.
So the Dodgers not afraid to make big deals. Aaron and Gordon to the Marlins. And they get back catcher. Austin Barnes, a terrific young catcher. Kike Hernandez. And a ground ball to short that should end the inning as Amarisa throws across a diamond, and that's that. And of course, part of that Marlin trade, Howie Kendrick, would eventually come from the Angels. So Yasiel Puig has 8 base hits this spring, 4 of them home runs. And that was the 4th. A mammoth blast. Coming into the batter's box in his first at-bat, how his bat was beginning to heat up over the last few days. And he sent a rocket shot out well beyond the Dodger bullpen. 2-run blast off Jason Lane. The Dodgers with a 2-0 lead as we begin the second inning, as Carlos Quentin will lead it off for the Padres. Of course, Quentin and the Dodgers have had some bad blood over the years. Not only as a Padre, but of course when he was at Arizona. And Quentin takes a strike, tried to check a swing, went around, according to home plate umpire Chad Whitson.
It seems like the whole National League West at times, there are players in every team that there's something that can creep up. Of course, the Dodger-Giant rivalry, but then what started with Arizona in the last game a couple days ago, it's been around.
Yeah, continuation of what took place a couple of years back.
And then here with San Diego now, and who knows what could brew with Matt Kemp as long as he was a Dodger, and whatever happened in the clubhouse with him at times. We will see if there's always good or bad blood when all of a sudden you start facing a former teammate.
Quentin .310 this spring. Into short left. Ethier sprinting in. Now he's there. First down of the second as Quentin flies to left.
See Andre Ethier out there in left field, and all through this spring, speculation on whether he'll be a Dodger for the whole year or through the whole spring or what will happen. And getting some reps out there in left field a little bit more often, that could be a sign that people are looking at him as a possible left fielder.
Here's Yangervis Solarte, the former Yankee. Solid spring, 13 out of 41. Takes a strike, nothing in one, a switch hitter.
It is not beyond the realm with general managers to phone call another general manager and say, you know, my scout's going to be in town to see a few of your guys, and it would be good if so-and-so would play left or so-and-so would play second, because they don't want to make the trip and try to see something for a possible move and not get the information they need.
Well, in the case of Ethier, he's played all three outfield positions and is capable at all three.
Mm-hmm.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
And the noise is up here in the press box, the noise is in the newspaper, on the radio, but for a player, it's not as noisy. It only is noisy when the reporters circle around your locker and you have to answer questions. Other than that, you just get prepared to play baseball and be a baseball player and be a good teammate and still have your friends and go to dinner and all your relationships. But someday, you know, as all of us knew, that there could be some shocking news at times.
You can only control what you can control. The 2-2. Solarte down on strikes. Well, Nicasio. 5 up, 5 down.
Well, if this ball's hit, it's a hanging breaking ball. If it's swung and missed, it's a strikeout. It's one you'll evaluate yourself and as a pitcher and say, I got away with one. As a hitter, why'd I swing at it?
First strikeout for Nicasio, 2 out, nobody on, and here's Derek Norris. So Norris, the former A. Kansas born and bred. Last year, 270. Had a great first half and tailed off the second half of the season. One of a boatload of newcomers with the Padres as Nicasio strike at the outside corner. Padres have not had a winning season since 2010. Thus the overhaul.
And I think they had an influx of some finances too that allowed them to go out and acquire a player like Matt Kemp and sign some others.
Well, some of those
James Shields, a big expenditure.
Well, some of that dough to Kemp is being paid by the Dodgers.
Exactly.
So the newcomers in San Diego for Bud Black in his 9th year include Kemp, Will Middlebrooks, Will Myers, Derek Norris, who you're looking at, Justin Upton, Clint Barmas, Shields. The 2-1 is now 3 balls and a strike. Tim Fedorovich, the former Dodger, came to San Diego, blew out his knee, and it looks like he's done for the year. So those are the newbies in San Diego. Foul back and out of play. Up, I beg your pardon, to second base. Lost it in the sun. Nothing across. We'll go to the bottom half of the second. 2-0 Dodgers. can still guarantee your seat for opening day. Visit Dodger Stadium on Friday from 9 to 6 for your last chance to receive a Magic Johnson bobblehead with your purchase of an opening day mini plan. We'll also help you plan your next group outing to Dodger Stadium. Visit Dodgers.com/open house. Gorgeous day, and it's 84 degrees on this Wednesday afternoon. Andre Ethier to lead it off for the Dodgers in the bottom half of the second. For all the noise you were talking about involving Ethier, he has been steady as she goes this spring. 306, 11 for 36, a home run and 7 runs batted in. Ethier, Uribe, and Peterson will bat for the Dodgers here in the second. You're just joining us. Puig, a mammoth 2-run home run in his first at-bat. Ethier fouls it back.
As far as the Dodgers went last year, as far as if you would take a picture or a definition of a teammate and put a picture there, you would have put Andre Ethier for everything that he did, how he held his tongue through the frustration of not really having a set starting job.
To second base, that's Ramiro Pena. 1 out.
Andre was just an outstanding individual again last year. It wasn't something new. It's something that he has shown over the years, the kind of character that he has as a person and who he is about once he signed his big contract.
In point of service, he's been around the Dodger team longer than any player. Second, Clayton Kershaw. Now Juan Uribe is the hitter. Uribe still really hasn't found a rhythm yet at the plate. Takes a strike, 0-1. 7 for 31, couple of RBIs. 1 double, 6 singles. Coming off a solid year last year. Of course, he was battling the hamstring issue. And while he was down, that gave Justin Turner an opportunity to play. And Turner turned in a career year. So third base was a source of strength for the Dodgers last season.
Anytime you have bench strength like Scott Van Slyke and Justin Turner, well, you can get some continued production at the positions where they fill in, because the starter goes down or the starter needs rest, and then you get just as much production or more in the case of a Justin Turner. Your numbers at that position can skyrocket.
Well, here it is. It's the 25th of March. Let's assume, looking at the bench, Turner's going to be there. Van Slyke is going to be there. And Uribe is down on strikes.
And the second catcher is going to be there.
Right. So now you're looking at perhaps Kike Hernandez, who could play all 7 defensive positions, save pitcher and catcher.
Possibly a Darwin Barney.
So now you're at
possibly a Guerrero because of the contract situation. And him showing some ability to play in other positions now. And they actually like him at third base a little bit.
Check swing, ground ball to third, and Solarte will throw out Peterson, but it's in and out of the glove of Carlos Quentin.
There's a couple clanks down there by Quentin, which that is not his regular position per se, and trying to get some reps over there. That glove looks a little loose. This ball hits squarely in the glove, but just kind of rolls out. Hit deep into the palm and then rolls up the glove. And he's actually in the middle of the bag to get a little bit more to the corner to get some more range. So some technique issues over there at first for Carlos.
Solarte's throw wasn't all that bad. At the receiving end by Quentin, not so much. You're trying to find some place for Quentin and his bat. Now the outfield is pretty well settled in San Diego.
They gave the error to the third baseman, which is a tough error.
And Solarte saying, me?
Yeah, exactly.
Rollins bunted for a base hit and scored in his first at-bat. And he fouls it back.
The key to team chemistry right there is when the inning ends for the Padres as they go in. Quentin takes the blame for it, no matter where the scorekeeper gave the error for. But in front of the team and the management, you go in there and say, my bad, that shouldn't have been yours. And that builds team chemistry, which the Padres are going to need to do, because they've got a whole bunch of people that are getting to know each other.
Peterson, of course, a 30-30 man last year. First one of the PCL in more than a half century. Lane on 1-1. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, the White Sox here. And Clayton Kershaw goes against Brad Penny. Saw Clayton today, and he took that line drive off the jaw the other day. He's working with one less tooth than he had a week ago. And the other one is, they got a crown or whatever. And a ground ball foul up the third base line, and he was eating some breakfast. Well, you're eating again. But yeah, just on one side of the mouth. He's still hurting. Yeah. But what was so remarkable when he took the shot off the bat of Andy Perino the other day was that after he took the shot, he went 2 1/3 innings and gave up 1 hit. And if that wasn't enough, then he went out to the bullpen. And then he went to the dentist's office. That was not nearly as much fun. He didn't get out of the dentist's chair till 10:30 that night. Came back to work Saturday morning, and of course, he's legendary as to how hard he works. A chopper to short. Rollins retired by Amarista. But on that Saturday, after getting hit by the comebacker, he pretty much took the day off. And anybody who's spent that much time in the dentist's office completely understands why. Puig's 2-run home run in the first, a difference in the game as we go to the top of the third, and Juan Nicasio, so far so good. 2 innings, 25 pitches, 15 for strikes, and he has struck out a batter. He's going to have a half a dozen relievers following him before the day is done, including the lefties Paco Rodriguez and J.P. Howell, Sergio Santos, Yimi Garcia, David Arzma, and Dustin McGowan. So Nicasio, this is his best outing to this point in the spring. The former Colorado Rocky is Alexi Amarista steps in. Amarista 11 out of 31. He's in a battle at shortstop with the veteran Clint Barmas. And a call strike, 0-1. It appears as if Nicasio is throwing free and easy today.
Yep, he's fastball location has been pretty solid. The off-speed stuff, he's still working on the location.
Base hit into right.
Kept that ball down, got a ground ball, just happened to be in the hole, but that's the kind of stuff that he's looking for, to keep the ball down in the strike zone and get the ball working on against the left-handed hitter towards that outside corner.
Got too much at the plate.
A little slightly up. Got it on the ground, but when it's hit with 2 hops, I was upset. When it's hit with 3 or more, I was fine. That meant the location was probably good and the movement was probably good. But 2 hops or 1 hop, the hitter got too much of the barrel on it.
Ramiro Pena starting at second base today. Jed Jerko will be the Padres starting second baseman. And a ball inside, 1 ball and no strikes to Pena.
Come on, Boyo.
Pena out of Monterrey, Mexico, with the Braves the last couple of years. Into his 5th big league season. Looped into center field for a base hit. So Amarista with a single to right, Pena single to center.
A couple of pesky hits right there. Ground ball finds its way through the hole, hit pretty good, and then Pena, who is that type of hitter, just trying to make contact, put the ball in play. See Tim Wallach flashing some bunt signs there for a possible bunt, of course. Jason Lane up.
Jason Lane, now 38. Made his major league debut as a pitcher last year with the Padres in 3 games, 1 start, 1 earned run in 10 1/3 innings. Came up with the Astros in 2002. Now he squares to bunt, takes high and away, and is 1 ball and no strikes.
Now, being a converted outfielder, he can swing the bat a little bit, even though that was the reason he switched to pitching, because the bat failed him. You've got to watch when you get into a 1-ball strike that all of a sudden they might decide to let him swing.
Lane went to school at USC. Nicasio will take the easy route. Runners advance, Amarista to third and Pena to second.
That's something the Dodgers will talk about right there, because that's the bunt. You get the lead runner at third, and Juan Uribe did not get back in time, did not read the ball off the bat, because he's got to get a jump earlier than this. When he sees the ball directly back and it's not his, you see him point. But he could have been a little bit more nimble on top of that to get back. And you see Nicasio felt like the timing and the rhythm of the game felt like third base.
Now Will Myers, as Uribe took a step in, and once he did, he was done. This is the first time we've had a chance to watch Will Myers in action. Single to right in his first at-bat. Took a wide turn. The Dodgers have the shift on for Myers now, as they did in the first inning. And so Gonzalez was out of position. But Puig threw back to first base with Nicasio covering. And Myers was thrown out. Ball in the dirt, blocked nicely by Yasmani Grandal.
As a pitcher right here, Juan Nicasio has to remember that Gonzalez is the only one on the one side of the field for him. So any ball hit over there, you better be on time, because there'll be nobody to cover first base. Gonzalez fields it.
A ball, a strike, in and out. Up and in, and that was a hard one. 2-1. It's not often you see a right-handed batter facing a shift.
It's really started to come into vogue in the last couple of years, where the information is being trusted now, all the spray charts.
On 2-1. That's some mustard on it too. 2-2.
Get backed into a fastball count. His off-speed stuff has not been there for him to have confidence in, so he just said, let's play old-fashioned hard ball and let it rip. And Will Meyer gave him the benefit of the doubt, went for it also. It was a big-time ball up and in.
Myers 24 and already on his 3rd different team. Came up with the Royals and then to the Rays and now to the Padres. Second strikeout for Nicasio.
Well, Myers says, I have not seen that one out of his arm today. You've struggled with that pitch, but he pulled one out of the closet, and here it is. A nice little slider right there on the edge. A pitch that Myers thought that is not going to be thrown, and if it is, it's not going to be a strike. He hasn't had a good one all day. Well, he had a good one right there.
So Nicasio now through 2 2/3. This has been his most impressive outing to date. Cameron Maben, who flied to center field in his first at-bat, fouls it back, 0-1. So Myers, who came into the big leagues with the Kansas City organization with great expectations. So too Cameron Maben. Second and third, 2 out, 2-0 Dodgers. Just inside. Nicasio saying, come on.
That ball was really close, and from the mound, when you've thrown a pitch that close and your head's moving a little bit, it looks like it's on the plate. But stabler eyes behind the plate, call it a ball.
Here's the 1-1. Drilled into left field for a base hit, and that's going to tie the score. So Cameron Maben, a 2-out, 2 RBI single to left. But Maben is 4th and 5th runs batted into the spring. Dodgers and Padres are now tied at 2.
Hurt by the off-speed stuff. This is just a little changeup. It's kind of just sitting up and rolling on the barrel of the bat. You see Juan's reaction after the ball's hit. You got first base open, 2 outs. You're about to battle your way out of the inning, and you leave one up and make a mistake, and that hurts.
Brings up Will Venable. Capable of playing all 3 outfield positions, and by the looks of it, once again this year, he will be their 4th outfielder. There goes the runner. Grandal's throw is way too late. Throw is high, but Maben had the base easily stolen.
All different kinds of edges of how you evaluate talent and who do you want on the roster, who's going to be in what position. Holding the runner at first is key for a lot of guys trying to make this Dodger bullpen.
Maben was 3/4 of the way to second base by the time Grandal was able to throw the ball. No balls and 1 strike to Will Venable. Entering his 7th season with the Padres. Gonzalez, no need to panic. Nicasio is there. That ends the inning. 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 left after 2.5. Padres and Dodgers are tied at 2. Dodger baseball is back in 2015 with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with live radio broadcasts, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 at bat for live baseball. Justin Turner will lead it off for the Dodgers in the third. Popped to second in his first at bat. Turner fouls it back, and it's 0-1. This time a year ago, Turner was in a battle for the starting spot at second base, which would eventually, of course, be won by D. Gordon. Gordon is now and has taken his talents to South Beach. Turner has become a very important member of this Dodger club. Here's the 0-1. Strike on the inside corner, and it's 1-2.
He's moved from a battle at second base to really part of the fabric of this organization right now. And I'll tell you what, the only question mark is how much playing time can we get him? And how do we keep him healthy? Because that was a little bit of the rep when he came here from the Mets. Dressed in the new Dodger blue. We love the talent, but we've got to watch the workload. And Justin wants to get rid of even that fact about himself.
There's a base hit into right center field. Turner had less than 300 at-bats last year, which was just fine. You know, there are just some guys who are not capable of going to the plate 550, 600 times a year. Yasiel Puig, in his first at-bat, hit a rocket shot worthy of a Carlscam look and sound. When he hits them real good. So Puig with 8 base hits this spring, 4 of the 8 home runs, and he now has 10 runs batted in. Ramiro Pena just a few steps to the first base side of second. For Yasiel Puig, now 8 for 32. That's .250.
As you can see, the infield's the pull, but center field straight away. So that tells you what they think about when he hits it in the air. It's not pull in the air. It's straight away in the air and pull on the ground. So sometimes a lot of times really, you'll see defenses where it's maybe oppo on the ground and straight away in the air. It just depends. It's a completely different scouting report for a fly ball compared to a ground ball.
About 10 days or so, Rob Manfred was here and joined us in the booth for a while. Here comes 1-1, 2 balls and a strike. And one of the things that Rob came to learn immediately was that, like E.F. Hutton, when he speaks, people listen.
Yeah.
And I reminded him of that. And I said, well, how about the shift? Well, he took that one back in a hurry.
There's no such thing as a passing comment by a commissioner.
No. He came to learn that in a hurry.
Deputy commissioner, yes.
There's a rocket into left field. And now Turner goes to third base. Venable didn't even look at Turner. Although the Dodgers now have runners at the corners. Puig is 2 for 2. A 2-run home run and a line drive single into left center.
Again, really good compact swing. A ball that's way out off the outside corner, but Yasiel still has the timing and the swing to get this ball. And you know what I think about with Justin Turner and how many games you said the 500 at-bats compared to 300 at-bats is that he's had a full year now with Stan Conti and the training staff. He's had a full off season. And I think that our Dodger training staff is a cut above. And I'm sure that they have worked really specifically on trying to figure out how to keep his legs healthy. And I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with the right formula.
But his role with the Dodgers is as an understudy and can play any position in the infield. Adrian Gonzalez with first and third and nobody out. Gonzalez with a single to center in his first at-bat. Now 8 for 37 with a couple of home runs. Into left. Turner will tag and score. Venable gets it back into second base for Gonzalez. His 6th run batted into the spring. A sacrifice fly. And the Dodgers have a 3-2 lead.
Well, you watch this swing on a sacrifice fly, and you think about a veteran hitter who knows how to pick up easy RBIs. He's like he's swinging in a rocking chair, and he's just placing it out there to left field. Off the plate, just keep my weight back, just throw my hands at the ball, get the ball to the outfield. Routine, I did my job.
He is such a smart hitter, Adrian Gonzalez, as Kendrick swings and misses, nothing in one.
Nothing in a hurry there, Charlie. Just keep my balance, read the pitch, get the barrel. He's not thinking about doubles or home runs or base hits. He's thinking about driving the ball 300 feet somewhere.
Led the league with 116 runs batted in last year, Adrian Gonzalez. Won the Silver Slugger. That was the best hitter at his position. With Adrian Gonzalez, you could pretty much pencil in 290 to 300, 25, 28 home runs, 100 and something RBIs every year. Kendrick with a shot. One hop off the wall. Puig will score. Kendrick arrives at second base. Howie Kendrick hitting over 400 this spring. Knocks in his 8th RBI, and the Dodgers have a 4-2 lead.
That's the kind of ball that the Dodgers think Howie will hit a lot of. He is not a home run hitter, but he can hit home runs. But he is a gap-to-gap line drive hitter. If that ball has a little more arc on it, of course it's a home run, but he hits so many balls on a line or on the ground.
And now Yasmani Grandal bounces short in his first at-bat. Nope, one around. Did not check his swing. Jim Wolf, first base umpire. And Jason Lane, one-time outfielder with the Astros, trying to hang on to a big league career as a pitcher. And the Dodgers aren't making it easy on him.
Probably somebody who's a real long shot to make their bullpen, but if he decides at 38 there's a chance that another organization would pick him up, or he wants to stay in the Padres organization and be a AAA, then he can keep the dream alive. But it would be a long shot at 38 for him to make this club.
Two balls and a strike. So tomorrow, Dodgers and White Sox. Kershaw and Brad Penny. And on Friday, Zach Greinke and Chris Heston, as the Giants are here. And Vin will be on the telecast. On 2-2, Grandal takes in the dirt 3 balls and 2 strikes. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to Hyun-Jin Ryu. Turned 28 today. And in a couple of weeks, he will have that valuable left shoulder of his reevaluated. The 3-2, and the runner goes. With 1 out.
Well, no worries about the middle infielders of the Dodgers and their legs feeling good. Jimmy Rollins with a triple the other day, legged that out, and talked to our Alana Rizzo on the sideline saying the legs are feeling great. And there goes Howie Kendrick here with 1 out, deciding to steal third base.
Rollins 4 doubles and 2 triples. Kendrick has 4 doubles, and on 3-2 this time he stays put, and Grandal fouls it away.
Easier to steal third base with a left-hander on the mound than a right-hander. The left-hander's head turns and leaves the runner in his peripheral vision a lot sooner than if you're a righty, of course. The runner's in front of you.
And then you throw into the mix Grandal's batting from the right side.
Blocking the catcher's view to third.
Grandal is retired, and that's the second strikeout for Lane. 2 gone. Now Andre Ethier coming up.
He rolled over on a ball to second base in his first at bat against Lane, and see if he makes a little adjustment and tries to take the ball more to the opposite field, left field, stay on the ball more. We'll keep him on the fastball and keep him on the breaking ball.
Ethier to left center field and deep. And off the wall. In to score is Kendrick. Andre Ethier continues to have a very good spring. The last week to 10 days, his bat has really awakened, knocking in Kendrick. And the Dodgers now have a 5-2 lead. Third run of the inning.
Big league hitter making a big league adjustment. Gets the same slow breaking ball and stays on it and drives it to left center. Not rolling over to second base where he was out in front. Taking it bat to time that pitch. Taking it bat to get your timing and make a nice adjustment.
Now Juan Uribe, a strikeout victim in his first at bat. Takes a strike. Last week to 10 days, there are lots of scouts in all the exhibition games throughout the Cactus League and Grapefruit League. But a lot of them have had their eyes on the fella standing at second base, Andre Ethier, and he's been putting on a pretty good show. One and one with 2 out. And Uribe with a fly ball into short right field. This is Will Myers. And that will end the inning. So Uribe still struggling at the plate. Not so Andre Ethier. Not so Howie Kendrick. Dodgers score 3 in the third and leave 5-2 as we head to the fourth. On Backstage Dodgers, we go behind the scenes as Kenley Jansen works his way back from foot surgery. As bench coach Tim Wallach gets mic'd up. Don't miss an all-new Backstage Dodgers tomorrow at 7 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. New pitcher for the Dodgers is Sergio Santos. Last year in Toronto, trying to get his equilibrium back. Didn't work out too well, but the Dodgers are happy to have him because in 7 appearances this spring, just 1 earned run, 5 hits in 6 innings of work. Opposing hitters have hit .217 against him. And when they have a short list of potential closers and The Dodgers may not have a traditional closer until Kenley Jansen gets back. Santos's name has been mentioned. He throws hard. Southern California product.
Not afraid of the ninth inning and has had some success in the ninth inning for sure. And when asked in interviews, he says, I'm not afraid of that job.
Carlos Quentin leading it off. And on the first pitch, rolls it to short. And Jimmy Rollins throws across the diamond. Quentin is retired. One pitch, one out.
Santos with a big arm, and right there, just come in right out of the bullpen and throw a excellent fastball low and away. Show that you can get ahead of hitters and show that you can also get a routine out right away.
Santos, 31. Graduate of modern day Santa Ana. And Hervis Solarte went to the Yankees. A deal that sent Chase Headley over there. Got a ball inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Solarte struck out swinging in his first at bat against Juan Nicasio. In 3 innings today, 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 strikeouts. 39 pitches, 22 for strikes. Santos deals. And falls behind 3-0.
When you're watching a pitcher out there and everybody's kind of auditioning for a job, he got the first pitch out to start the inning. Now he falls behind 3-0. Can he find his rhythm after falling behind in the count?
Strike through the heart of the plate, 3-1.
As management, Don Mattingly, Rick Honeycutt, the front office, they'll know you're going to lose your release point a little bit, but do you end up giving up on the at-bat and then it spirals out of control, or can you regroup and get right back in there?
Look at Gonzalez. That's why he has won 4 Gold Gloves, but Santos can't hang on.
2 out of 3 good things right there. Santos getting back in the count. 3-1. Throw another strike. Get a ground ball. Adrian Gonzalez just showing his range, his soft hands, his great throw, and then Santos just kind of clanked it over there at first. There'll be some gremlins over there. Quentin's having trouble. Santos is having trouble. First base area, the gloves are not working.
Well, neither are first basemen.
That's true.
An error to Santos. Derek Norris. The ball. In the case of Quentin, they're just trying to find some spot for him because they think he can still hit. But there's no room at the end for Quentin in the Padre outfield. 1 ball, no strikes to Norris, and that one is tagged, and that one is long gone. Ho-ho! Derek Norris, his first home run of the spring, a 2-run shot. His first 2 RBIs of the spring. And the Padres pulled to within 1.
A lot of times in these Cactus League games here, you say there's a lot of home runs, and sometimes it's the weather, the wind. But today, the wind is blowing straight down. There's no wind at all. The ball is just getting barreled up. Yasiel Puig hit a rocket, and that ball by Derek Norris is an absolute afterburner also. Fastball, kind of got a little tail to it. Down, you'd say good pitch, but down and in, he was able to drop the head and get underneath it.
Norris last year, 10 home runs and 55 runs batted in. Alexi Amarista takes a strike. So Santos doesn't do himself any good by dropping a throw from Gonzalez at first. And Norris, who had 3 hits all spring, rockets a long distance home run. 1 ball, 1 strike to Alexi Amarista. As we mentioned in the open, there are a lot of veterans in this Dodger bullpen as of the 25th of March. Into left, 8 years there. Second out of the inning. And some of them, I guess, for the first time in a long time, are really having to audition, relatively speaking, this late into their careers.
Yeah, it happens, and especially happens when you come to a contending big market team that really can sign a lot of players. A lot of organizations are kind of strapped to the point where when they sign you, you have a job. The Dodgers have the luxury of signing a lot of people and spending money, and then you compete for a job.
Ramiro Pena takes a strike.
And not only are you competing for a job, but you're competing for a really nice salary that you probably, the Dodgers ended up being the highest bidder when you were choosing organizations. You saw an opportunity. You saw an opportunity to make some more money than you would in another place and to play for a championship team.
Comebacker off the glove of Santos. Rollins is there to throw out Pena, and that will end the inning. 2 runs, the home run by Norris, an error by Santos. Hurts him. Dodgers 5-4 as we go to the bottom half of the 4th. Peterson's going to lead it off. So the Dodgers lead has been trimmed to 5-4. A 2-run home run for Derek Norris in the top half of the 4th. A 2-run home run for Yasiel Puig in the 1st. And the Dodgers would tack on 3 more in the 3rd on a Turner and Puig single, a sacrifice fly for Gonzalez. Kendrick doubled, and Ethier doubled and drove in a run. Jock Peterson leads it off. Peterson got aboard on an error in his first at-bat. Jock at .415. He's 17 out of 41. And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Maybe what's been most noteworthy about Jock Peterson this spring is that there's been no news. He's just gone about his business. Of course, there's been so much attention paid to Peterson over the past couple of years. PCL Rookie of the Year last year, a 30-30 man. The thought that he would be the starting center fielder, and he drills one to right, and that puppy is long out of here. Jock Peterson's 4th home run. Peterson and Puig lead the Dodgers with 4 home runs apiece. A solo shot for Peterson. Now 9 runs batted in this spring. It is 6-4 Dodgers.
AAA performance gets you an opportunity to show your talent in the big leagues. Then the evaluation starts. How's he hit righties? How's he play defense? Does he throw and play intelligently to bases? And can he hit left-handers so we don't have to platoon him? And that's a big at-bat. And a big part of the resume that might get him a little bit more playing time as the regular season comes on.
By the looks of it, he's going to get nothing but playing time. A sensational spring. Yeah, and he comes in with the great expectations. The Dodgers moved Kemp. They say, all right, in center field, it's probably your job without giving him the coronation. And all he has done is everything.
Well, you had Ned Colletti here in the booth the other day, and he talked about that one-on-one battles. You sometimes can throw spring training stats out the window.
And Rollins with a shot to left center. That's Venable at the wall, tracking it down.
Well, when you scout as management, you look a lot of things at the one-on-one battles, and the one-on-one battle of a left-hand pitcher against a young left-handed batter that there's a possibility you might want to platoon is one of those battles that you watch. And if it would have been an outstanding breaking ball, low and away, right on the corner that he swung and missed at, it's okay too. If it would have been one that's 3 feet wide and he swung and missed at and he should have never swung at, that's a downgrade. But if it's a hanger and he does the right thing with it, like he did today, that's an upgrade.
4 home runs, 9 runs batted in this spring for Jock Peterson, hitting over 400. And Justin Turner has hit this one a long way. Home run derby for the Dodgers. Folks were wondering what would happen to the Dodgers without Hanley Ramirez, without Matt Kemp. Well, the Dodgers have hit more home runs this spring than any other team in the majors.
In rhythm. The bat had to rise at the same time the ball does to the hitting area. Everything is there. From the ground up and going through the bat and into the ball and over the wall.
Justin Turner is now 17 for 35 this spring. Nearly 500. 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in. So Jason Lane trying to make a career change from hitter to pitcher. At least based on today's performance, may want to reconsider his position. Puig is 2 for 2. 2-run homer in his first at-bat. Singled and scored a run in his second at-bat and takes low and inside. And it's 2-1. Puig 9 for 33 with 4 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Adrian Gonzalez is on deck. To the right. And out of play. Not only watch this, listen to this. When Puig hits him, you hear him. Two balls, 2 strikes, and 1 out. Puig 2 for 2 today. And it must be painful for a fellow like Jason Lane, hanging on to his career and just getting rocked. 7 runs and 9 hits, 3 home runs, and a couple of doubles. It must be an awfully lonely feeling there.
And he's, you know, the conversion from outfield to pitchers, and that happened in 2011. So there's not a lot of pitching calluses that have been built up as far as when you get rocked. So it does hurt. And it not only feels like a bad outing, it could feel like the end of a career.
Everybody's career comes to an end.
Unfortunately, yes. Once you experience this level and you get to play on these unbelievably manicured fields and clubhouse guys that take care of every need that you have, from polishing your shoes to hanging up your uniform, travel that's off the charts, first class, meal money, and then, of course, the salaries. It is just something you want to last forever, but it can't.
Father Time and Mother Nature remain undefeated. No balls and a strike to Gonzalez, who is singled, knocked in a run with a sac fly. Dodgers 7-4. And Gonzalez with a slow roller to short. And Pena will throw him out and end the inning. 2 runs, 2 hits. Home runs for Peterson and Turner. And the Dodgers lead by 3. Dodgers have a new pitcher. We'll introduce you to him in a moment. But first, mark your calendars for Wednesday, April the 8th. 2 weeks from today, when the Dodgers host the Padres at 7:10. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive an adult replica pullover jacket presented by Bank of America. To secure your tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. And the new pitcher is Dustin McGowan. McGowan in Toronto last year, an ERA of over 4. And this spring, in 6 innings, 4 earned runs and 8 hits. That translates into an ERA of 6. He's the 3rd Dodger pitcher of the day. Nicasio started. 2 runs and 4 hits in 3 innings. Santos, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, 1 base hit in his inning of work. Nicasio, 39 pitches, 22 for strikes. Santos, 12 pitches and 7 for strikes. And so here's McGowan, another veteran looking to hang on. Carl Crawford is playing in an A game today. He's 1 for 3, a single to center. He has struck out and he has walked as well. Jason Lane batting for himself.
Kind of an oddity in spring training, and Bud Black deciding to let him hit for himself. Maybe didn't bring a real long bench or some jicks that just in case minor leaguers.
Well, Lane, once upon a time, a long time ago, was a hitter for the Astros, and he has just hit a home run.
Maybe he's going to convert back to outfielder now. Pitching hasn't gone very well today.
Well, he's given up 3, and he hits 1 for himself.
He's 1 for 1 today. He had to sacrifice bunt, move the runners over, and now a home run. Down fastball, down and in. Kind of like the pitch that Derek Norris hit off of Santos. A fastball down and into righties. He's not working today for the Dodgers.
So McGowan, again, as we mentioned in the beginning of the broadcast, Dodgers have 7 pitchers today, all of them out of the bullpen, trying to make a mark on this season. And McGowan gives up the home run. And a chopper slowly hit to third. Here is Uribe. But Myers beats it out. Infield hit.
A fast track here in Arizona, the firm dirt. The grass is cut very short, and the ball usually gets to the fielders quickly, so you play deep a lot of times. And that ball was hit so weakly with a little topspin on it that it was the perfect distance to beat it out.
So here's Cameron Maybin. Maybin with 2 out in the third, singled home 2, then he'd steal a base. And he's lost his starting job, at least for the time being, as the Padres center fielder. The expectation is that Myers will be in center with Upton in left and Kemp in right. Maybin can catch the ball, but just a .246 career hitter, hit .235 last year.
Well, with the worries in San Diego and around baseball that the Padre defense in the outfield will be a little shoddy, he will definitely be used probably from the 6th inning on as a defensive replacement out there if they're ahead in the game.
Well, they can use Venable too.
So that roster full of defenders on the backside and offensive players on the front side. You probably will see Will Myers start in center field, but if they go with the defensive outfield, Will Myers will probably shift to one of the corners, and you put one of the fleet-footed guys out there in the middle of the diamond.
Dave Roberts leaning over the railing. Here goes the runner. The pitch is inside. The throw to second base, and that was quite a throw by Yasmani Grandal.
Great work by Team Yeager right there. Fastball in, and if you give Grandal a chance, he has proven this spring that he can make the footwork and the strong throw. Stolen base earlier, but that was off Nicasio, the pitcher. But right there, fastball in, quick feet, quick release, strong arm, right on the bag. Really no chance to swipe that one when you give Grandal an effort.
Cameron Maybin takes outside. It's 2-1. Last year, Grandal threw out only about 11% of would-be base stealers.
And a lot of that can be attributed to poor mechanics, and the poor mechanics then come from the injuries that he battled in his legs. So now that legs are healthy and the mechanics are much better working with Steve Yeager. And so they expect an upgrade in that area. And they didn't see that as a possible detriment in signing him and thinking, oh, the defense is going to be below average. They thought that was all attributed to the injuries.
That's what they're banking on.
Yep.
On 2-2. Call strike 3. So Maybin left standing at the altar. Second out of the 5th. And Will Venable coming up.
Take a look at where the glove is. See that it hit it almost, but when you get it in the vicinity and you can frame it like that, that's one of the things that Grandal graded very highly at coming into this year, was getting the most called strikes. Held his mitt there firmly, didn't let it move much. Give the umpire a good look.
Venable takes a fastball up and in. That's one of those new stats. Framing.
It was something that you're supposed to do with your jersey after you get called to the big leagues.
Into left field, and Ethier cuts it off. Venable now on his way to second base will make it.
And a track meet out there for the outfield on both sides today. Gappers and home runs that they're having to run. Ball going to the left center gap. Andre Ethier, his backhand side, does a nice job swatting it down and getting it into the infield. Slips a little bit right there. So you're not going to hold him to a single there. It's a good job just getting back in.
Venable, a terrific all-around athlete. Two-sport star and an Ivy Leaguer at Princeton. And his father, Max, played parts of a dozen major league seasons. Carlos Quentin out of Stanford. Got a lot of smart cookies out there today.
The last two hitters have no problem with sabermetrics. You guys don't know what to do.
Quentin has flied to left and bounced to short. 12 runs and 18 base hits between these two clubs today. Rolled to shortstop. And Rollins throws out Quentin. And that ends the inning. 1 run. 3 hits, 1 left. Halfway home. Dodgers 7-5 after 4.5.
Our National League Cy Young Award winner for the 3rd time, Clayton Kershaw.
No team has more Cy Young Award winners than the Dodgers. And this season, we're celebrating with a Cy Young Pin Collector's Series presented by 76.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. A perfect game.
Pick up pin number 1 featuring Don Newcomb on Monday, April 13th when the Dodgers play Seattle.
And the pitch, a fastball for a strike.
Visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
New pitcher for the Padres as we go to the bottom half of the 5th. Jose Valverde. Last year with the Mets. And didn't do especially well. And looking to hang on to a major league career. Non-roster player with the Padres. Jason Lane went 4 innings, 5 runs. Correction, 7 runs. And 9 base hits. And 3 home runs surrendered. Howie Kendrick leads it off and takes a strike. Kendrick has doubled, scored a run, and driven in 1 today. Came in with a sidearm delivery, and Kendrick rockets it foul.
A new and different twist to Jose Valverde. He can go through some gyrations out there, but that's a new one as far as the angle of delivering a ball.
Self-titled Papa Grande. Diamondbacks, Astros, Tigers, and the Mets. 1 gone in the 5th.
One to 3 with a jog in between. Likes to run it over there as close as he can and underhand it to first base.
And here comes Yasmani Grandal, the switch hitter, 0 for 2. Bounced to short and has been struck out. Valverde is now 37. In fact, turned 37 yesterday. .6'4" and 265. Thus, Papa Grande.
He's quite a character, and he's a really good teammate. I mean, some of the stuff on the mound would make you think he's a little flaky, but he's really a solid guy.
Born in the cradle of shortstops, San Pedro de Macorís.
Not really in line to be the closer here, but you know what? If he turns it on and figures it out, somebody might think that he could do that again. But when he was a closer, he was one of those kind of cardiac closers because he would pitch through a lineup like a starter, looking for outs, not always giving in.
And he brought his bow and arrow. To left field. That one is well hit. And it's run down by Venable in front of the Dodger bullpen where J.P. Howell is getting ready to work.
Well, as advertised out there, Venable, an outstanding outfielder, did a great job running along the warning track. So now you don't really know when you're running side to side on the warning track quite as much where the fence is, so you've got to feel for it and keep your guts to say, I'm going to catch this ball, because you don't know when the fence is coming.
And in the case of Yasiel Puig, who care less.
Yeah.
Ethier is 1 for 2, a double and an RBI today. Andre Ethier continues to tear it up. He's 2 for 3. And now he's on his way to second base with his second double of the game. Ethier becomes a more intriguing story by the day.
Well, he's doing a great job shortening his swing, getting his foot down, and using the opposite field. Why people use the opposite field? Because if you're on it and can hit it to the opposite field, if you're out front of it, you're still hitting it hard to the other side.
Alex Guerrero takes over for him at second base. And Guerrero, who has played third base, shortstop a little bit this spring, once at second base and in left field, will take over for Ethier.
Well, here's a battle of colorful teammates. There's Valverde against Uribe. Fun-loving guys that are going at it.
Papi and Papa Grande.
Exactly.
And a base hit for Juan Uribe. It's about the hardest ball he's hit in a week. In to score is Guerrero, and the Dodgers take an 8-5 lead.
The West Coast Papi wins that battle. Who's your daddy now? Gets himself a knock and an RBI, and hopefully for him starts to feel better at the plate. Hit it from where it came, right back up the middle, just out of the reach of the shortstop because it was hit so firmly. Alex Guerrero in there to pinch run and had to avoid that, but still got in to score.
That's Daniel Mayora, pinch running at first base. So Uribe 1 for 3. Foul ball. The call is made on any ground ball prior to the first base bag or the third base bag by the home plate umpire. In this case, it was Chad Whitson. You could hear him bellow out foul ball. Jock Peterson is happy with the call. Peterson, a long-distance home run to right in his last at-bat, has also been aboard on an error. Peterson 18 for 43 this spring. Cracked his 4th home run, has 9 runs batted in. Dodgers lead by 3 with 2 out. A run in here in the bottom of the 5th. A chopper to third. Solarte, and the ball is clanked again by Carlos Quentin. That's the second time Solarte has thrown across the diamond to Carlos Quentin, and the second time it fell out of the glove.
These are routine plays for most first basemen. Carlos, looking for a place to play, is fooled on a little bit of the movement. It was such a loud clank. I don't know if this ball, wow. It was just the movement, and just the top of his glove doesn't look like it is stable enough.
So Peterson is aboard on an error for the second time. It extends the inning, and Darwin Barney is batting where Jimmy Rollins had been. Then he fouls it off, and it's 0-1. Rollins was 1 for 3. Barney, of course, a Gold Glove winner a couple of years back with the Cubs. Played shortstop for the college champion Oregon State club about 5 years ago.
That was a very scrappy team that won it, and he's that kind of intelligent, scrappy player.
On 1-1. Mayor is at second base. Peterson is at first. And Barney takes a strike on the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Eight runs, 11 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 8 hits, 2 errors for San Diego. Valverde strikes out Barney, and that ends the inning. Dodgers come up with a couple of runs, couple of hits, and an error. Leave 2. We go to the 6th. They lead 8-5. Dodger pitcher of the day. He's had one stinker this spring, but outside of that, he's been solid. 3 of the 5 earned runs he gave up came in 2/3 of an inning. Had a bit of a groin issue early in spring. And he says he's absolutely fine now. His last outing was a good one. That was on Sunday afternoon. Retired the Indians in order. 9 pitches, 8 strikes, and struck out 2. Mattingly was saying the other day there are 2 guys he knows for sure who will be in the bullpen. Joel Peralta and J.P. Howell. And on the first pitch, he goes, Jervis Solarte. Alex Guerrero makes the catch. So a lot of changes for the Dodgers. As we mentioned, Guerrero pinch ran for Ethier. And he's played some left field, shortstop, and second base, and he's hit the ball very solidly. So Guerrero is now in left field. Chris Heisey is in center field. Changes, but wait, there's more. As Howell deals to Derek Norris, who hit a 2-run home run in his last at-bat. So Heisey is now in center field, and Scott Van Slyke takes over in right. One ball, one strike. Howell last year, Orioles just kind of ran out of gas come September.
Yeah, his location, his ability to really throw his changeup whenever he wanted for a strike or a quality strike, and it just seemed like he had enough in the tank to pitch, but not enough in the tank to pitch effectively.
And he doesn't throw hard enough so that his margin for error diminishes that much more as he runs out of gas.
Yeah, it's deception and change of speeds for JP, and the accuracy has to be there. And just
Missing
that pitch
outside.
right there, you look at that and evaluate and go, okay, the hitter took it right out of his hand, and it ended up about 3-4 inches outside, and for him, he wants the hitter to offer at it, and he wants it to be down and on the plate, get an out on it, not have to throw another pitch.
So a tale of two halves last season. Line drive, base hit into left field by Derek Norris, who's having a good afternoon.
And if you could remember the pitch before that was off the plate, and then the one that gets hit right here, this one now you have to come more to the middle of the plate, and a slightly up mistake and you get it hit hard. Such fine differences between a quality pitch, one that you have the best chance of getting somebody out with, and then a mistake that the hitter has a better chance to hit it hard and get a hit.
Alexi Amarista. Backhanded stab Gonzalez. And it was J.P. Howell who made the play and saved Gonzalez's bacon. Well, that one was ripped. Talking with Jose Valentin.
Well, this ball is really hit hard, and it takes a tough hop on Adrian. He kind of loses it, and he thinks maybe JP's going to toss it to me, but Adrian just recovering, and JP takes it himself. In the regular season, that might have been a very dangerous collision. Here in spring training, it seemed like both players kind of pulled up. Make sure everybody stays healthy.
So now with two out, Norris went to second on the play. Ramiro Pena takes under the knees. Dodgers 8 runs, 11 hits, and the Padres 5 runs and 9. Pena 1 for 2 and a run scored. Howell misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
Just missing to his arm side. So for JP, the arm side, of course, is the first base side. As your arm strength builds throughout spring training, sometimes you then can start holding on to the ball a little bit longer and being very accurate out there on the arm side. It just seems to be missing that edge, either high and away or low and away, just off the corner. Sometimes that can be alignment. Sometimes that can be your center of gravity as you're going towards home plate. He's just looking through his toolbox trying to fix it.
James Phillip Howell. A 4-pitch walk to Ramiro Pena. Certainly not as sharp as he was on Sunday. Dustin McGowan went an inning, 1 run and 3 hits. 12 pitches, 7 strikes. Al beginning his 9th year in the big leagues.
No cell phones in the camera.
And his third with the Dodgers. Now Rick Honeycutt is going to go out and have a chat, and apparently saw what you saw.
I've seen a little bit of something here. They altered his delivery a little bit from last year to this year, and Rick is part of that adjustment.
You work for the Padres?
Rick Honeycutt, now in his 10th season as the Dodger pitching coach. Since taking over as the pitching coach for the Dodgers have led the major leagues in ERA, 3 2/3. And opposing hitters hitting just .247 and the lowest on-base percentage.
And what we just saw there in that mound visit, Charlie, is the least of his work, because we know how early he gets to the ballpark and is studying the video and going over the game plan every single day, the time that he puts in. And it's all around baseball that if you come and you're a pitcher for the Dodgers or a catcher for the Dodgers, it's going to be more work as far as preparation.
This is Tommy Medica pinch hitting for Valverde. And a fly ball to right field, and Scott Van Slyke is there to make the catch. Van Slyke took over from Queen. Here in the 6th, Dodgers lead 8-5. The Dodgers open the 2015 season against the Padres on Monday, April the 6th. Want to guarantee tickets to this sold-out event? Purchase a 2015 mini plan. This includes opening day, all 10 bobbleheads, and many more great promotions. Visit Dodgers.com/mini-plan. Brandon Moore is the new pitcher for the Padres. Came over from Seattle, where he made 38 appearances, 7 starts, an ERA of 4 2/3. So the Padres have made some changes, and we'll get caught up on those. Valverde goes an inning. 1 run and 2 hits. Kike Hernandez is batting here for the Dodgers for Turner. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Hernandez came over from the Marlins, and he was a key piece in the deal that sent Herron and D. Gordon to Miami. He can hit for power, and play 7 defensive positions. Takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Hernandez 3 runs and 5 hits and 2 doubles this spring. Now Moore, luck being the residue of design, 1 out.
Carlos Quentin down there at first hasn't had anything stay in his glove, but that time it worked out real well because it was deflected right to the bag, and this is a very odd 3-1, but that's exactly the way you can score it.
And we had an odd 1-3 in the top half of the inning. Ball that deflected off Gonzalez, and there was J.P. Howell to get the deflection and run to the bag. So the Padres have made 3 changes as Van Slyke gets his first at-bat of the day.
Got it.
Van Slyke batting in Puig's spot. Puig today, a 2-run home run in the first. Rocket shot. And then single to left. So Puig, 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs. And the Padres have a new catcher, too. Two and Van Slyke with a fly ball to left field, and the Dodgers today are playing home run derby. The 4th home run of the afternoon for the Dodgers. Van Slyke in his first at-bat. That fella's got a souvenir. And the Dodgers now with a 9-5 lead.
The 3-hole in the Dodger order, hitting for power and average 3 for 4 in that hole. Yasiel Puig started there. Scott Van Slyke ends up there. Puig got a home run. Van Slyke's got a home run. Puig also had a base hit. Production.
Turner has hit a home run today, and so too Jock Peterson. And here's Adrian Gonzalez. And Gonzalez a hit, a sac fly, and he bounced out. Well, the press box PA is getting a workout. Lots of changes have been made on both sides. Brett Wallace is the new Padre third baseman. Line drive into the glove of Carlos Quentin. Hearing the Bronx cheers. 2,800 miles to the west.
Well, the ball didn't want to stay in his glove again. He had to actually catch that line drive twice. It hit the glove, but he had to re-grab it.
What position does Carlos Quentin play? Bat.
He's had an adventure down there at first base today.
Luis Mateo batting in what was the spot occupied by Howie Kendrick. Oh, boy. You get the feeling that Quentin would rather be somewhere else today. Well, the home run for Scott Van Slyke. 4th home run of the afternoon for the Dodgers, and that's a difference in the game. 9-5, we go to the 7th. day is done. So to Derek Norris as they make their way to the clubhouse. We'll go to the 7th inning. And through 6, 9 runs, 12 hits for the Dodgers. 4 of those 12 home runs. Padres 5 runs and 9 base hits. And here's David Aardsma. Aardsma is the 5th Dodger pitcher of the day. Howell, no runs and 1 hit in 1 inning. Aardsma looking to make a major league comeback. And this spring, 6 innings, 2 runs and 4 base hits. Dodgers have a new catcher, Ali Solis. Scott Van Slyke moves in from right field to take over at first base. Well, we're now at the portion of the program where there are lots of guys who are moving from here to there. Scott Van Slyke takes over at first. And Will Myers leads off. And takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Myers is 2 for 3. Just 24 years of age. 2-1. Myers came from Kansas City to Tampa in the deal that sent James Shields to the Royals. And in all likelihood, the Dodgers will see Shields on opening day, a week from Monday, against Clayton Kershaw.
Well, he is not only a quality pitcher, James Shields, but he eats innings, and he is a staff leader. A lot was written and talked about the way he really impacted not only the Kansas City pitching staff, but the Kansas City ball club, bringing them a lot of confidence and verbalizing the fact that they can win. And that is what's needed in San Diego.
Also part of that deal, Kansas City got Wade Davis, the hard-throwing right-hander, outstanding 8th inning setup guy. And people are wondering, giving up this highly prized prospect in Myers. Well, he lasted in Tampa for a year. On 3-2 in the right center field. Tracking it down is Chris Heiser. And now Cameron Maben. Good crowd on hand today, 8,363.
These crowds are always interesting. Like when Will Myers was up there, there's one guy that can get you a voice, and he took a 2-0 pitch, and the guy's yelling, "Come on, Myers, you can't hit unless you swing. You got to swing the bat." Getting the big 50,000, they're all cheering. You don't get the one voice, but you get these 8,000 people crowds. One guy with that voice over the dugout can get you
and drive you crazy.
Yeah, you just got to have more discipline than when you're playing in front of 50,000. 50,000, it feels like you're out by the ocean. It's just the crashing of the waves.
It's white noise.
It's just noise. But I'll tell you, 5,000 people back in Pittsburgh when I played, when there was nobody coming to those games, you get one ornery guy that had a few too many adult beverages, and they can just hammer you for 9 innings.
He was hammered so he could hammer you.
Oh, I liked it when they hammered me for 9 innings. That means I was still out there.
And if he was hammered, it would be a long drive home. On 1-2, Maben fouls it back.
The fun ones are guys hanging over the bullpen at the beginning of the game that have gotten there early, and you're warming up for the game, and they're hanging over just yelling at you. You got to have your bulletproof vest on when you're warming up on the road, getting ready for a game.
Especially in places like, say, Philadelphia.
Oh, yes, that's fun. I have some really good sarcastic things I've said back to him.
Maben down on strike.
I don't think they're made for the air, though, even though there's no swearing. I give you one, Charlie. After a while, and I built a little bit of a resume, a guy yelled down, he goes, "What kind of a name is Oral?" And I said, "Famous."
Take that.
It's like, go sit down.
But here, leaning over the railing, it's a little more civil.
Yes. It's the Umbrellaville down there over the Dodger bullpen.
Now with 2 out, Will Venable. When Chris Young was pitching for the Padres, Young, a 2-sport athlete at Princeton, so too Venable. They would have done well in the old GE College Bowl. Venable 1 for 3 today, 8 for 36 this spring. Two and 0, 2 out in the 7th. 2-1. Carlos Quentin is on deck. Three and 1.
2 out, nobody on. 9-5 lead. 3-1 count. Challenge him. I know you're trying to make a team make an impression, but impression can be a good one. Get the ball back down in there. There's first looks, and then there's how'd he do the whole spring, and then there's lasting impressions. And we're getting to that point in the spring where lasting impressions will take those thoughts into meetings, when the brass goes into meetings and the staff goes in to start talking about and evaluating and thinking about roster spots. And we want to leave them with a good last taste.
So a 2-out walk to Venable. Ardsma's second walk in 6 2/3 innings this spring. Quentin is 0 for 3. Off to the right and out of play. Quentin out of Stanford. Venable out of Princeton. And Ardsma is first in the Major League Baseball Encyclopedia, alphabetically. Missing high. Ardsma came up with the Cubs in 2006, into the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Yankees, and last year in the Cardinal organization. Born in Denver, lives out here in Paradise Valley. There are an enormous number of Major League players who live within 20 or 30 miles of Phoenix. A, because there are so many Cactus League teams out here, and B, the weather is perfect in the offseason. And C, when they're playing, they ain't living here when it's 115 degrees every day. Paco Rodriguez now warming in the Dodger bullpen. He will pitch the 8th. And presumably Yimi Garcia will pitch the 9th. So Quentin has flied to left and bounced to short twice. 1 and 2 to David Ardsma. who has been very solid this spring for the Dodgers. Auditioning for a role. Into center field, Heisey makes the play, and that'll end the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, and a man left. We're in the 7th inning stretch. Dodgers with 4 home runs this afternoon, lead it 9-5. Go beyond the dugout and into the Dodgers clubhouse. Join Alana Rizzo. She goes one-on-one with Don Mattingly to get the inside scoop from the Diamond. Don't miss Dodgers Clubhouse Monday at 7 here on Sportsnet LA. And the Padres make some more moves, including the arrival of Nick Vincent. Solid out of the bullpen last year in 63 appearances. Hit just .221 against him. So the Padres pitching is solid. Bullpen has been terrific for years.
We're banking on Joaquin Benoit, getting close to 40 years old. He's 37, 38 now, being their closer. But then the guys in the 7th and 8th inning should be pretty good before that if he can finish off the 9th. And they're hoping to have a lead a little bit more to use a guy that can get a save. The offense that they brought in.
This is Jeremy Hazelbacher. With Alex Guerrero on deck.
Padres scored 38 fewer runs than anybody in baseball last year, so they went looking for some offense with the money that they spent. And Justin Upton and Will Myers and Matt Kemp.
Will Middlebrooks. That's the good news. The bad news is they all strike out a ton. And speaking of striking out, Hazelbacher down on strikes.
The other thing they looked at, I think, is that they've shown that a lot of the balls in San Diego where they do carry, it's to left field. And they went with some right-handed pull hitters and they started assembling the roster.
Well, it's going to be catching the ball in right center and left center where it's rather spacious at Petco. That might be an issue. Middlebrooks, ex of the Red Sox. He's prone to strike out a lot. All three of the new outfielders tend to strike out some. And here's Alex Guerrero, who's been real solid all spring. 1 ball and no strikes. Alex at .344, 11 for 32. 2 home runs, 7 runs batted in. 1-1.
Now, he looks stronger to me. He looks with better balance there in the batter's box. His arms alone, his hands and forearms look really strong.
Another base hit. So you have two guys who are on, and any time you can use the word precipice in the middle of a baseball broadcast, it's already a good day. We got two guys on the precipice of making the team or not in some fashion or another. Andre Ethier and Alex Guerrero, and they are both hitting the ball square.
Yeah, they're definitely been very impressive with their offseason programs, what they brought in here to the camp, and then how they've adjusted to the talent in spring here. They're putting up some numbers.
This is Daniel Mayora who takes a strike. So the Padres have made a bunch of changes, which we will get to after they're tentatively identified. Strike. Corey Spangenberg, oh good, has moved from second base to left field. Jake Gobert is now in right field.
There really should be a spotter in the center field camera well up there so that you could read the numbers from the back. And then walkie-talkie them in here to the press box.
And a base hit off the bat of Daniel Mayora. Jake Lemmerman is the shortstop now for San Diego. He was in the Dodger organization for a spot or two. Cody Decker is at first base. And here's Chris Heisey, who has really struggled at the plate.
And he is waiting for his bat to come alive. I know the Dodgers are too. But this is a point in spring where you start to maybe press a little bit for the new ball club and want to show your wares.
2 for 30. So Donnie in the front office will have some hard decisions to make here in the next 10 days, especially with Ethier hitting as well as he has and Guerrero hitting as well as he has, and then you throw into the mix, Heisey still has options left.
Yeah, the statement of you throw spring training stats out the window a little bit as you were in the front office. You know, you throw them out for the young guy that hits 600 and you say, you know, you're going back to the minors for seasoning. Well, do you throw them out for the veteran that has hit better during the regular season?
Oh, beautiful diving stop at third base by Brett Wallace. Heisey. That's when you know things aren't going well. He finally squares one up, and he's robbed of a double by Wallace.
Snake there. This ball is crushed down there. One hop and finds the glove. Heisey out in front, but kept the swing on plane and squared it up. A nice play right there. Good hustle by Chris Heisey. When you're 2 for 30 and about to be 2 for 31, to continue to sprint down that line and show the character. Good job right there.
Second and third and 2 out as the runners advance. And Darwin Barney's coming up. High and in, 1 ball and no strikes. So Barney, the one-time Gold Glove winner with the Cubs. Good season acquisition last year. Pops it up, left side. The catcher, Cody Gale. Usually you see a catcher with the front of the cap pulled around to the back. But Gale wears his helmet with the bill of the cap up front. Don't know I've ever seen that before.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before either. I don't know if he's using that as a sun visor a little bit for glare when he looks up, and that gives him a little visor, or just style.
Or just because.
Yeah.
And for years, probably up until about 25, 30 years ago, catchers didn't wear the helmet at all, just the cloth cap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cloth cap backwards, and then they bend it up to get it out of the way of the umpire. So it wouldn't be hitting the umpire in the chest.
Yeah, that's what a catcher looked like in the old days, for goodness sakes. Yeah, the bill of the cap
bent back up.
Yeah.
Dirty hat.
Must have seen 1,000 pictures of Campanella that one. Barney works out the walk. Dodgers have the bases loaded with 2 out. And here comes Kike Hernandez.
As he made an impression, Kike Hernandez this spring. And some quality defense at a lot of positions. Swinging the bat well.
Yeah, he was one of those under-the-radar acquisitions in the big deal with the Marlins. Austin Barnes, outstanding young catcher. The Dodgers very high on him. The Dodgers with the bases loaded and 2 out. And Hernandez, a little too anxious. Pops it up. And that will do it. We will go to the 8th. Dodgers still on top 9-5. New pitcher for the Dodgers, and Paco Rodriguez has just been great in his 6 innings. No runs and 3 hits. He struck out 7, hasn't walked anybody. So if Paco can revert to form that he showed a couple of years back, Dodgers sure could use that this year.
When you see Paco out on the mound, he's throwing his warm-up tosses, you see less delay as he takes the ball and separates from the glove. Less delay and pause behind, kind of a little bit more fluid as he gets back there and the cocking action of his arm and just kind of moves through that movement now instead of that delay. And he's liking that delivery. It's made his breaking ball more consistent. Seems to be more accurate. And gotten rid of that little idiosyncrasy.
Second-round pick in 2012. He began 2012 pitching at Florida in college and ending the year up at the major league level. In 2012 with the Dodgers at 11 appearances to 6 2/3 innings, but down the stretch 1 run and 3 base hits. 2013 an ERA of 2.32. Last year just 19 games and Wasn't the guy they first saw, but he has certainly fit into their future plans. And then you throw in Adam Lipitor and J.P. Howell and Paco. You got three very solid lefties.
Got real good left-handed depth now for the Dodgers in the bullpen and pieces that they can move around. And that seems to be the theme for the bullpen, is mix and match and see which guys will face which hitters the best and who pitches in the best in certain situations.
Corey Spangenberg. 2 balls and a strike.
It's not a year to look at the overall numbers of the pieces in the bullpen as much as it is to go deeper into the chapters and the sentences and the individual words of how you're going to apply them to each situation.
Breaking ball for a strike. That jelly like Spangenberg.
Yeah, that's very good and sharp, late breaking ball. The ball that we're actually used to seeing Paco throw that when he's on his best.
On 2-2. So let's say, for argument's sake, average starter throws 6 innings a game, which means, all things being equal, the bullpen will throw 3 innings a game, which over 162 games comes out to about 486 innings. What Mattingly and Honeycutt have to do is figure out how to parcel out those 486 innings, and Paco Rodriguez strikes out Spangenberg. And it doesn't necessarily say, oh, we have only 7 pitchers to do it. It may be 8, 9, or 10. Who's coming up, who's coming down, who's healthy and who's not.
I would guess it's going to be somewhere around 12 that'll end up pitching out of the Dodger bullpen during the year. If they have a nice solid year of normal injuries and bumps and bruises, and normal player moves up and down maybe because of performance.
Brett Wallace swings and misses. And you throw into the mix the closer, Kenley Jansen, out until give or take sometime in May. So there are going to be a lot of moving parts. Mattingly and Honeycutt in the front office going to have to do a lot of juggling.
It seems like a little, piecemeal and patchwork, but that's the way every season is. It just so happens for the Dodgers that it's starting at the beginning.
Well, last year, on the other hand, you had 4 guys who had been closers. And so their roles were essentially secure or assured this time 1 year ago today. Of course, it didn't work out that way.
Chris Perez, Brian Wilson, Brandon League, and Kenley Jansen. J.P. Howell was pretty much going to be on the team then, too.
Yeah, but Perez is hanging on by a hair, I think, in Milwaukee. Wilson is out of the game at the moment. Kenley is on the sidelines for at least another 6 weeks, it seems.
It was no fault of Ned Colletti's. I mean, everybody in baseball was excited about that bullpen. Everybody said the Dodgers might have the best bullpen in baseball. It's just the resumes did not pan out to the production.
Wallace down on strikes. But the point is that this time a year ago, you had 4 guys you assumed going in they were going to have 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yep.
There is no such certainty or assurance for anybody, at least as of the 25th of March at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Now, the roles are to be determined.
Yeah. But Paco is certainly doing his job. J.P. Howell has done a nice job to this point. And Adam Lipitor has been very impressive.
Well, the first criteria for a left-hander is get lefties out. Second criteria for a left-hander, can you pitch the full inning and can you get a few righties out? And the next criteria is, can you go multiple innings? But if you have value of getting left-handers out, they're not going to want you to go multiple innings.
One hop play by Mayura. Throwing out Rocky Gale, and A 1-2-3 inning for Paco Rodriguez. Another one. He's just been sensational all spring. Mayora, nice play at third. Slyke, who hit one of the 4 Dodger home runs this afternoon, will lead it off in the 8th. Yasiel Puig in the first inning cracked his 4th home run of the year, a 2-run shot. Then Jock Peterson pulled one to right, his 4th home run of the spring. Not to be outdone, Justin Turner hit his 3rd home run of the spring, and then it was Van Slyke's turn. Now again, whether this plays out over the course of the year, we'll all find out and be so much smarter 6.5 months from now. But with the loss of Hanley Ramirez and Matt Kemp, or at least the fact that they are working elsewhere, the Dodgers, coincidence or not, have hit more home runs this spring than any other team. But it's spring. He's a good fighter in the gym. What happens when he gets in for the heavyweight championship of the world? Well, we'll all find out together. Here's Van Slyke. Takes a strike.
It's like those hitters that they hit really good at 5 o'clock. What happens at 7:05 or 7:30 when the game turns on? It's a little different.
Yeah, when the sun sets.
Yep.
The thing about Van Slyke is that he has now really grown into his role. He can back up Gonzalez at first. He can play all 3 outfield spots, and he's a power threat coming off the bench in late inning situations. Into center field. And that's the first out. Abraham Almonte with the catch.
He is so much for me on the career path of somebody like a Jason Worth, you know, that really found his own by just hitting off of lefties and backing up, and then all of a sudden got a chance to play every day, and all of a sudden burst onto the scene and just was an impact player. And he may get there.
One out and nobody on. And this is Ali Solis. Burly young catcher. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Coral and I'll be back with you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Dodgers will be the road team against the White Sox here. Of course, the Dodgers share Camelback Ranch. Clayton Kershaw goes tomorrow at 1 against Brad Penny. So the gold standard against a penny. One and two to Solis. And then on Friday night, Vin will be joining you. Lo and I will be on the radio as the Giants are here. Zach Greinke against Chris Heston. Be interesting to see what kind of a year the Giants have. Of course, they're going to miss Hunter Pence for the first month. And Solis in the shallow center. Almonte's there. Will their rotation be strong enough? The bullpen is largely the same as it has been, and how long is too long when you've got the same group in the bullpen? You were talking about it earlier. It's so hard to gauge from one year to the next, a bullpen.
It is. It's the Achilles heel of most general managers, because bullpen pieces that are having good years, the next year sometimes they have a down year because they get used so much because they were having a good year. And a lot of times then they pitch deeper into the season. They don't get the same amount of rest. Your bullpen does really well, and you go into October. And the games in September are key, so you're taxing them there.
Luis Mateo, the batter for the Dodgers, takes high.
So then sometimes the next year they come into spring training and they get a little bit of a flat tire. You see a lot of bullpen pieces at times that are kind of every other year pieces.
Well, look at the Dodger bullpen this year as compared with last. New cast. 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, one way to assure performance is to make sure you have a lot of pieces, because then you can toggle them in and out and keep them rested. So you might not have the resume or the numbers that a frontline bullpen has, but you might be guaranteed the performance of that middle to upper middle performance if you can keep them all rested and move them in and out of roles and make sure they stay healthy.
Frank Garces is the 4th Padre pitcher of the day. He's out of the Dominican Republic. 15 appearances out of the bullpen with the Padres last year. 2 runs, 8 hits in 9 innings. Spent most of the year at AA San Antonio. 25 years of age, 5'11", 175. Joey Curletta, the batter for the Dodgers now. Right to the second baseman. And that's going to do it. Jake Lemmerman made the play. No runs, no hits, a man left. Will go to the 9th. 9-5 Dodgers. Fans, catch Access Sportsnet Dodgers tonight as we bring you highlights, in-depth analysis, and exclusive interviews with your favorite players. Don't miss Access Sportsnet Dodgers tonight at 6 o'clock right here on Sportsnet LA. And here's Yimi Garcia, who also has had a very good spring. In 6 appearances, no runs, 4 hits in 7 1/3 innings. So slowly but surely, these young fellas are creating their own space. And Garcia has not really been tested yet in his 6 appearances. Paco goes another inning. No runs, no hits, and 2 strikeouts.
I like the deception in Yimi's delivery, the little sidewinding action that he has, and he's got good late movement, and he definitely has a power arm. He's got a combination of things that you look for individually, but you put them all in one body, and you get a pretty good pitcher. See the tail on that fastball right there, and just the kind of the jumping action of the delivery. Scouts would write him up as deceptive with a power arm.
9 strikeouts and a walk in 7 1/3. Gets up there in a hurry, too.
And he does a good job getting down the hill, which means the relative velocity of what he's throwing to the hitter is firm. You can throw 95 from over the rubber, and you can throw from 95 from down the hill, and you're going to be sneaky fast and on top of the hitter.
Just outside.
How soon do you show the ball, and how late is your release? Can make you tough to hit.
Garcia, 8 appearances with the Dodgers last year. 10 innings, 2 runs, and 6 hits. Spent most of the year at Albuquerque. 47 appearances and a 3.10 ERA. He'll turn 25 in the middle of August. Again, a week from Monday, the season opens. But the bullpen story is beginning to right itself. Garcia's been solid. Paco hasn't given up a run. Ardsma's been solid. J.P. Howell had really one bad outing, and he's been solid since then. Three and 2 to Mike McCoy. Well hit, but well foul.
If Yimi was really in the mix, and maybe he still is, and I think he is, but if he was really, really on the bubble where they were trying to make a decision, I think he'd pitch earlier in the game when there were more big leaguers in. That's one of the ways that sometimes you can see who are the ones that are really in the competition.
Into short left. Darwin Barney taking charge.
From his college position of shortstop, played more big league level at second base. Still plays that well.
The Gold Glove veteran calling off Daniel Mayora. And now Cody Decker is the batter. Well, the 2 veterans after Nicasio, Santos and McGowan, were the first ones to throw an inning today. I'm guessing Decker's got a pair of sore thumbs after that. There's 2 out.
Yeah, when you talk about who pitches and who pitches when, if it's coming down to veterans that you want to look at, you want to look at them against big leaguers. And if you really know that the upside of Yimi's arm is, you know what, he's a big leaguer. That's a guy we're going to want, and I like the way he's throwing the ball, and I don't need to see him against big leaguers. I can tell the stuff's going to play, then you decide who pitches where then again. And this is from my years with, 3.5 years as a big league pitching coach with the Rangers, and knowing what goes on the inside as far as deciding who pitches when and who we're looking at. And I'd like to get one more look. It doesn't mean it's exact, if they do well in that outing or that matchup. but it's just more and more information that you continue to gather.
And now with 2 out, Abraham Almonte takes a strike. So today, Nicasio goes the first 3, 2 runs and 4 hits. Santos pitched the 4th. Gave up 2 runs. One of them earned a home run. McGowan came in, pitched an inning, 1 run and 3 hits. And then Hal Arzma-Paco. And now Garcia, 2/3 of a shutout inning. And there you have it. Dodgers 9 runs and 14 base hits, including 4 home runs today. Puig, Turner, Van Slyke, and Peterson. So Van Slyke taking over at first base for Adrian Gonzalez. For Van Slyke, that was his 2nd home run of the spring. Scott's now finally at the point in his career where he doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He's just going about his business, getting ready for the season. The 2-1. Foul back, 2 balls, 2 strikes. So tomorrow the White Sox, and Kershaw's going to pitch for the Dodgers at 1 o'clock right here. Just outside and low, 3-2.
A hitter that can't hurt you, and a breaking ball that just missed, and a 4-run lead in the 9th. This is a fastball low and away. Make him hit it on the ground.
Time called.
Strength against strength. Get the ball down. Outer half of the plate. See what happens.
Got a 4-run cushion.
Pulled it. He was going for the low and away fastball. Pulled it to the inside and got a foul ball. Right back at it.
Three balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out in the 9th. And the Padres live to see another at-bat.
He tried to hit it twice. One he pulled in, and then he made a little adjustment, but he got it away, but up and away, came underneath it. Slams that rosin bag down, mad at himself for the 2-out walk. Now he's got to get right back in here. Let's get this thing done.
Jake Gobert is a batter. Brother goes, and the Dodgers could care less. And that's why they call it defensive indifference. Gobert's a farm boy from Illinois.
We slipped in a 1-0 breaking ball right there. It's a little different with 2 out, man on second, and you're trying to make a team and an impression, and a little different than nobody on, 2 out and 3-2 count. Now he's gone back-to-back breaking balls on the outer half to get the 1 and 2. He's pitching for a 0 for this inning. He doesn't care there's a 4-run lead. I want everybody to know that I had a clean inning.
And we can go home and do it again tomorrow. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the Dodgers win their 12th game of the spring. And the bullpen, very good today. Hal, Arzma-Paco, and Garcia give up no runs and 1 base hit over the final 4 innings. For the Dodgers, 9 runs, 14 hits, 1 error. And for the Padres, 5 runs, 9 hits, and 2 errors on an afternoon in which Puig hit a home run, Slyke hit a home run,